Are you lost, baby girl?
Are you lost, baby girl?
Yes. Yes, you are. You're lost in the bulging, fiery peepees of a half hyena, half big-chested centaur. Focus, queen. Porn for men is bad and makes their peepees go soft, but reading about throbbing vampire billionaires that are always 6'1,000" who love you after emotionally torturing you, that's fine. That's totally fine. If a man says it out loud, he's a red flag. But if your boyfriend says it, welcome to Booktok, the part of TikTok that I find the most cringe. You are on Booktok, aren't you? I bet you're ashamed. Ashamed you're reading about milking and gorge minotaur dick. Oh, I'm so ashamed. This is so wrong. He grabbed her with his masculinity, not aware of the double cream leaking in his fridge and smelling like shit. For those of you who don't know, Booktok is TikTok's book community. And lately it's all about the bulging peepees and obsessed with dark romance. Stories about obsession, manipulation, control, and trauma, all disguised as passion. You'll see videos of people crying, saying, "This book ruined me!" Or something like, "He's so toxic, but daddy, I love him." It's not just a trend anymore, it's identity, lifestyle, personality, and the line between fantasy and reality basically gone. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When men watch porn, people call it toxic, addictive, unrealistic, degrading. We talk about how it messes with their expectations, their dopamine, their ability to connect with real people, and of course all of that is true. But when women read dark romance stories filled with possessive, controlling men, somehow that's considered deep, emotional, and healing. The little Pepe boy was pleased with his appearance of his gaping ass. Which brings me to today's sponsor, Pepe! One gets moral panic, the other gets a hashtag and a cute aesthetic. I just don't like this belief that books are holier than thou, and people who read books are more interesting than those who watch movies. At the end of the day, books are another form of entertainment to escape reality. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't understand these, like, this person reads, therefore he must be smarter. You know, the really fascinating people are those who go out and try to make their fantasies reality. Don't go wank a centaur. There's nothing wrong with reading a lot. I just don't agree with the notion that just because these women read, they're better than the guys who watch porn. At the end of the day, they're both fantasy. And honestly, most of these books are absolute garbage. If the plot was interesting, I wouldn't shit on them as much. If 90% of these books were not just horny women trying to find metaphors with dick and balls, I wouldn't have a problem with it. His sword of yearning shifted, announcing his arrogance before delivering his sewage onto her eyebrows. Forbidden obelisk of desire pressed against the void of her heart-shaped poetry. Her spear of desire twitched beneath the weight of her name, impatient for an invitation that never came. Her spear of ruin stirred a promise and a threat, wrapped in bad pubes. The crown jewels of chaos settled upon my forehead. His cosmic marbles of destiny rolled with a purpose above my hairless nipple. His dick and balls. Why can't you just say that? Dick and balls. His dick and balls swayed in rhythm. His dick and balls landed on my pelvis. His dick and balls danced with a firing desire of 200,000 Mongolian warriors. Dick and balls. Balls and dick. Balls. 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 I get it, at least in these books the characters are not real. No mythical centaurs were in the making of this book. Whereas in porn, a lot of these women have to deal with abuse and do scenes they were very against. But this is a new kind of fantasy addiction. At least it only got popularized recently and is already showing real-world consequences. For example, fandom spaces and convention harassments of the characters or cosplayers is often reported. A cosplayer named Animus, of course it's his name, was allegedly groped, had handprints smeared over their body paint, and was later found to have an AirTag planted on them without consent. Other attendees also reported being touched and harassed. It showed exactly what happens when fantasy bleeds into real life. People start believing the rules of fiction apply to real bodies. Fans mistake obsession for affection, dark for desirable, and boundaries for suggestion. When you glorify control and violation in fiction long enough, someone always tries to test it in reality. We say porn objectifies women, but these books objectify men in their own way. They turn abuse into affection, dominance into devotion, trauma into entertainment. Both feed the same thing, both feed the same need, the desire to feel something intense, something forbidden. The difference, when men do it, is considered a sign of moral weakness. When women do it, it's called empowerment. And look, I'm not saying porn and literature are identical. There's more nuance, sure. Reading engages imagination, emotion, and context. But pretending one is pure and the other one is dirty, that's just nonsense. Dark romance is corn for emotion. It's the same loop of fantasy, the same dopamine hit, just dressed up in metaphor and adjectives. Both forms of fantasy shape expectations. Corn can teach men to see sex without intimacy. Dark romance can teach women to see intimacy through pain. Both twist what connection looks like, both blur the line between desire and dysfunction. If you want to see hypocrisy, look at the reaction. Men are told to stop watching corn, go to therapy, touch grass. When women are told, read your dark romance, queen, it's self-care. And somehow it's still men who got blamed for having unrealistic fantasies. But here's the uncomfortable truth: both sides are escaping reality in the same way. Through an idealized fantasy where they feel wanted, powerful, validated. It's the same emotional mechanism, just expressed differently. Corn sells the illusion of endless desire. Dark romance sells the illusion of unconditional devotion. Yes, my dear, of course the 1,000-year-old billionaire 6'10" vampire has been searching for you his whole life. Definitely didn't say that to get you into bed. Neither of those exist in real life, and chasing them leads to the same disappointment. Is good. Imagination, empathy, creativity, all good things. But when fantasy starts shaping your reality, that's when you stop being the audience and start being programmed by the story. And we've seen it happen. Maybe this hits home for me because I get an overwhelming amount of comments from aunties telling them I remind them of Durananathan Nikro Malakov from the book The Velvet Symphony of Baby Boy Orangutan. I've even gone on dates where a girl would tell me, "Oh, I thought you were a real-life Viking. Turns out you're just a clown." No shit, lady. Have you seen any of my videos? Real-life Viking. What the fuck do you... What do you think is just gonna pillage your village and take you by force? I have a bidet in my toilet and the latest Samsung Galaxy pee poo poo. Research shows fans of dark romance sometimes struggle to take the coercion from consent. They call manipulation passion. They justify control as love. It's the same desensitization that happens with corn, just emotional instead of visual. So yeah, maybe dark romance is better than corn in some ways. It uses imagination instead of exploitation. It can explore emotion, pain, power. But if you're using it to feel the same rush, the same validation, the same unrealistic fantasy, you're still in the same loop. You're just swapped on one illusion for another. I'm not here to shame readers or viewers. Fantasy is fine, but honesty matters. We can't call one addiction and toxic and the other empowerment. We can't mock men for escaping into fantasy and then celebrate women for doing the same thing in a prettier language. Because whether it's corn or dark romance, if it's teaching us that love is control, pain is depth, and obsession is intimacy, then neither side is winning. Maybe the real question isn't which one is worse. Maybe this is why we keep needing fantasy to feel something real. But you know what? Your boyfriend will give you the ick at times, and your girlfriend won't shove 2 avocados in her ass